We're going to summarize two Maimarim today. This is parshas Bo. The first Maimar, so it says that when talking about the Jewish people leaving Egypt, it says on that day, Yatsu called Tzivos Hashem Eretz Mitzrayim, that all the Tzivos Hashem, all the legions of Hashem left Egypt. Now, this word Tzivos, legions, is basically the same word as Hashem's name, Tzvos. The Gemara says that no one called Hashem Tzvos until Chana did. And then Hashem responds to her that you called me Tzvos, your son, Shmuel, who will be a Navi, he'll prophesize about me in the name Tzvos. And then this continued throughout all the Nevi'im, and especially the last Nevi'im, Chagai, Zecharim, Malachi, they use the name Tzvos most. So we need to understand, what does this name represent? And in general, what do names of Hashem represent? And what is special about the name Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, which is the Shem HaMiyuchad. So in general, Hashem is, when we think about names, they're already a limitation. Every name describes Hashem in a certain way. And therefore Hashem himself is totally beyond all names. But when Hashem lowers himself, so to speak, to allow his light to be sensed and be seen, revealed in a certain way, so there's a name for each way that Hashem can, so to speak, appear. And each of the names represents a different sphere, and like the name represents the keli, the vessel of that sphere in the highest world, the world of Atzilus, the world of closeness to Hashem. So we have Kel as the Kli of Chesed, Elikim is the Kli of Gevura, Adnai is the Kli of Malchus, etc. Then we have the Shem HaMiyuchad, the special name Shem Havaya, which is not the vessel, but the light of Hashem, Hashem's unlimited light as it comes into Atzilus and is then held in these Kelim. So therefore Shem Havaya is the special name. But the name Tzvos is different from all other names. All other names are Hashem's, are the Kelim in Atzilus, in the world of closeness to Hashem. Whereas the name Tzvos is in the world of Bria, the world of creation, where there's already separate existences. There's souls and there's angels, whereas unlike in Atzilus, where there's only Hashem and there's no sense of independent self. So why do we have this name of representing Hashem's light as it is manifest in Bria? Because, Moshe himself, he gives the Torah, which is from Shem Havai, it's from Atzilus in general, and Moshe, besides the Torah, instructed us to keep the Torah. It's all within Atzilus, and the Jewish people were able to take that. But then, as generations went past, they were no longer able to take that directly. It wouldn't speak to them. So therefore, there needed to be Hashem's light as it comes into the lower worlds, into Bria as well. And therefore, we have the name Tzvos, which is name of Hashem as it is in Bria, where there are multiplicity of legions. There's not just Hashem, but there's all these other beings, and then they all come together. They all come to Hashem to be one and nullified before Hashem. And the Nevi'im wanted to not just say their own words of rebuke, but they wanted it to be a prophecy from Hashem. They wanted it to call upon and reveal about Hashem, but at the same time, Hashem as the people were able to take in, and that's why they started using this name, Tzvos. But although they're using a name of Hashem from Bria, but it wasn't that normally Bria, it might be nullified before Hashem, but it's like a separate being that decides to be nullified. It's not one. The Kelim of Bria are not one with Hashem. They appear to be separate. They declare their independence. Although they serve Hashem, they respect Hashem, but they're independent beings who respect Hashem. Whereas what the name Tzvos accomplishes is that in Bria, it will still be one with Hashem. And this is like two things that are naturally two things, but nevertheless they can come together. Like, for example, you can have a concept and then the person learns that concept. So the concept exists without the one who studied it. But nevertheless, when the person studies it, he is then called a wise person, which means that the wisdom has become part of him. Or like a body and soul are two separate things. But then they come together and together they create the person. So in a similar way, we have the light of Hashem, which is the light of Hashem is hinted in the name Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, and that becomes one with the world of Bria, the beings of Bria, which are independent beings, separate beings, and therefore we have Havaya Tzvos, the name Havaya, together with Tzvos, because Bria now becomes one with Hashem, not just bottled, nullified before Hashem, but it actually to fuse together to become one before Hashem. And in order to have this, this, which doesn't really make sense, it's only through introducing a light of Keser, a light of Seviv, of beyond worlds, and that can bring together opposites, Bria, together with Shem Havaya, the world of creation, where there is separate existence together with Shem Havaya, which is the light of Hashem, and there's Hashem, and that's it. So this is why we have this name introduced now, because the Jewish people left Egypt together with bringing the refined sparks. They found lots of godliness hidden within the shells of materialism and concealment in Egypt, and they refined them and brought them out with them when they left Egypt. And therefore the name Tzvos makes sense in a way, because it's in the world of other, the world of Bria, where there is multiplicity and there's separation from Hashem. But they brought it to Hashem. Although this is sparks that from this world, from the physical world, but they brought it to Hashem to such a degree that it's not that there was a separate name. There's only Shem Havaya, and they are Tzivos Hashem, Tzivos Havaya. They are the legions of Hashem. The Tzivos is like a word connected to the next word of Hashem, because it's not something separate. It's part of Hashem and totally one with Hashem, even beyond Tzvos, as the prophets use that name, which is Bria. Here you don't even notice Bria. All you notice is there's Hashem, and that's it. And the Jewish people elevated even beyond these sparks, like it says Al Tzivos, and that they elevated even beyond the Tzivos, the legions, which reminds us of the sparks, and they went even beyond that. That concludes this Maimah with some explanation about what does it mean, a name of Hashem, the name Havaya, the name Tzvos, and names in general. Next Maimah is based on the pasuk in the parsha of Kadesh, which is one of the 4 parshas in the Tefillin, from taken. The 2 of them are taken from parshas Bo, Kadesh and Yaviyacha. And the pasuk says there that remember that through the Tefillin you'll remember the Yetzias Hashem and Yetzias Mitzrayim, and due to that, Leman Tia Teres Hashem Beficha, in order that Hashem's Torah should be in our mouth. So, because Hashem took us out of Egypt with a strong hand. So, what's the connection between Yetzias Mitzrayim and therefore the Torah of Hashem should be in our mouth? To understand that, we also need to understand why Hashem tells Moshe one thing, and then Moshe elaborates and says a lot more. Hashem just told him, sanctify the firstborn, person and animal. And then Moshe gives a whole long speech about Yetzias Mitzrayim, and about how you're going to come to the land of the Canaani, and Hashem will give it over to you, and eating matzah, tefillin, a whole lot of things before he'll get back to the point about the first holiness of the firstborn person and animal. And this happens often. So why does Moshe not repeat exactly what Hashem says? And another more general question, what's this idea that we're learning Torah day and night, our total focus, when a lot of it is not relevant? So the explanation is based on first discussing 2 types of love. There's the love, which is a natural love, like people who are blood relatives, parent, child, siblings, natural love. They always have that love, and it's mostly, for the most part, it's constant and it's not too excited. Then you have another love, which is karish bayesh, like a fire. That's like a husband and wife who come together, that they're not blood relatives, but nevertheless they come together. And because it's not nature, it's not natural, they've just come together, it's more fiery, but on the other hand, it has its ups and downs. So now, Hashem coming to us is unnatural. We're here within this lowest physical world. Why should Hashem want specifically us? Yet, that's what Hashem wants. And although it takes a symptom, he has to conceal his light in order to be able to be manifest and to connect us in a physical world. But that's what Hashem wants, and that's what he does. Because of that's his desire, he does it, although it's unnatural. And when we think about that, how Hashem limits himself because he wants to connect us, and he limits his Torah. In other words, the Torah is really unlimited and spiritual and godly, and then it's brought down to discuss this physical world. So when we realize that, so then we should make the same. Now we can understand the meaning of the pasuk that because Hashem took us out of Egypt with a strong arm, therefore we should have the word Torah in our mouth. What does it mean? That just like Hashem went against his nature, that the right arm is normally chesed, but still he used gevura's severity to bring the 10 plagues on the Egyptians in order to save us out of love for us. So too we can go against our nature, that although we're in a physical world and material beings, would naturally enjoy other things of this world, to just have our total focus and desire and all our whole being be engrossed and striving for connection to Hashem, and therefore wanting to learn Hashem's Torah at every moment. And this is also why Moshe had to say different words to Hashem, because Hashem wants to come into this space of concealment and limitation. And therefore, even if it takes limiting Hashem's word to express it as it can be within our physical world, so that's worth it, because that Hashem, out of his great love to us, he wants to be with us in this physical world. And therefore we respond in kind with this just full-on desire and passion for Hashem's Torah, and that's it.